midweek-time FA Cup winners Liverpool welcome Brighton and Hove Albion for an all-Premier League clash in the fourth round on a Saturday night under the lights at Anfield. The Reds head into this one boosted by a positive performance in the midweek. But Brighton, without a win in 6, arrive hoping to put their league form to one side and replicate their third-round result that knocked Manchester United out of the Cup in January. Well, there's nowhere we'd rather be as there on this Valentine's night than here at Anfield, and the romance of the FA Cup gets underway at 8 o'clock. That's when we'll have live audio commentary on LFC TV and All Red video. Welcome to Matchday Live. David Thompson and Jay Spearing are alongside me for this one. We'll hear from them in just a moment, but first let's get the team news for the Reds. Peter McDowell has all of the details.
Well, it's a team that has really disturbed the sleep of Arne Slot, he says this week, Harriet. Such has been the risk and reward scenario that he's had. He has very little flexibility, as we all know, with the squad, but he is concerned about a couple of players that have maybe overdone it so far. You look at the situation with Hugo Ekitike in particular, and also Ryan Gravenberch, 36 and 40 games respectively for their club and country. Both of them missing from that starting lineup tonight, and 4 changes in total from that team that did so well at Sunderland. So let's confirm that team in full for you then. So it looks as though it will be Curtis Jones that will play at right back tonight, but we'll get that confirmed as the show goes on. Alisson Becker retains his place in goal. Of course, it was Mamardashvili for the last round of the FA Cup. Back-to-back clean sheets would have been top of his wish list tonight. Virgil van Dijk, his manager, waxing lyrical about him again yesterday. He made his 250th appearance in the Premier League game here. 250 appearances, by the way, without any as a sub. He's the first to do that since the days of Alan Hansen back in 1984. Kanate, Kerkez and Weerts. Soberslai back in as well. He's got 9 goals already. It is his best ever tally was 12 in his days at Salzburg. He's probably hoping that he doesn't get the shout in that right back position tonight. McAllister continues against his former club. 112 times he played for Brighton. 20 goals in his 4 seasons there. Then it's Salah, another favourite opposition for him. He's got 10 in 19 games against Brighton as Mo Salah. Chiesa looks as though he will play as the 9, a month since his last start when they knocked out Barnsley in the FA Cup. Then it's Jones, 5 appearances off the bench in the last 6 games, and Cody Gakpo to complete the 11. And then experience in that substitutes bench as well. Gomez, Robertson, Ekitike, who got 2 against them in December. The first after 46 seconds, the quickest goal. We've scored in 5 years. He's already scored in 5 different competitions in his debut season. Nobody's done that since the days of King Kenny in the late 1970s. And Ryan Gravenberch, who gets a bit of a breather as well. We're all spending Valentine's night with our first love in Liverpool tonight, and if I can give you any kind of present at this stage, is that there's no VAR until the 5th round of this wonderful competition.
Thank you, Pete. Yes, Valentine's with our first love indeed. Before we get into the side that Arne Slot has gone with, let's reflect on midweek. It was a proper battling performance, wasn't it? Inflicting Sunderland their first home loss of the season at the Stadium of Light. Jay, did you feel like it was just back to basics? There was so much fight, so much determination, wasn't there, to grind out that 1-0 result?
Yeah, for me, I think from the get-go, I felt that Liverpool quieting down the Sunderland support. You know, straight from the off, you could see that the crowd were cheering them on to go and press and go high and stay tight. I thought that Liverpool's game plan to kind of shut them down, but also take control of the ball and control it to our tempo really paid off. The only probably criticism that the manager probably looked at the end of the game is that we weren't as clinical as we have been. To go in at half-time, 0-0 with the amount of chances that we had, the amount of control that we had, was probably the only disappointment. But then to go on and win the game and have that real good 90-minute performance all round, I felt Liverpool really dominated and deserved the 3 points.
Tomo, was it that fighting spirit that particularly impressed you in that game?
Yeah, it was the fighting spirit, but also, to go to Sunderland's a really tough place this season. They're unbeaten in 12 games. There's been some good teams been there and not come away with any points. So, for us to go there and be the first team to beat them shows a good fighting spirit. But I was really pleased with the performance. I thought, it was a bit of a makeshift back four for us. Robbo come in, Endo was in there covering in at right back. I thought we looked absolutely solid. Kanate and Van Dijk were superb, colossal against Broby. And we showed some good performances in midfield as well. You know, Florian Wirtz was floating around there. He looked absolutely impervious at times. It makes the game look so easy. And he was linking up lovely with Salah as well. So there was a lot of positives to take out. And I'm hoping that we can continue that and take it into the game this evening.
Yeah, we're seeing some of the chances here as well, the ones that didn't go in. I guess the only downside, Tomo, to that night was the fact that Endo did go off injured, and the fact that he stayed on after his injury to defend another set piece and allow time for Liverpool to make that substitution. Does that just tell you pretty much everything you need to know about him as a player and a character?
Well, the fact he wears a gum shield tells you everything about that guy. You know, he's an absolute warrior, and he's the first name on my team sheet for that. But I thought his performance was fantastic. It was only his second start of the season. I think the last one was in the Cup, was it? But I thought he was magnificent. He was supporting Salah, he was occupying the space, he was closing down, he was physical, he was putting his foot in. And yeah, it was, I mean, it was a cringing injury, but the fact that he wanted to stay on, you know, it reminded me of Jamie Carragher back at Blackburn, and I was on the opposite team that day when he tried to stay on with a broken leg. So, yeah, a warrior.
Yeah, I think he took the word out of my mouth. I thought, you know, to me it felt like it showed that he was like an absolute warrior. I felt that he'd done a lot of unsung hard work that allowed the other players to really show what they were about. I felt that his solidness, he came in, he didn't try and complicate the game, he did what he had to do. He must be a manager's dream, and I think the players, you could see how worried the players were with his injury when he went down. Like you say, for him to stay on and want to defend that corner before even getting assessed by the physio staff just shows the type of player that he is.
7 players used at right back this season. Is there a curse, Jay?
I hope not. But, you know, there's been a lot of change, and you know, probably tonight we don't quite know who will possibly fill in at right back. There's a possibility of Jones going there. There's a possibility of Dom being in there. So you know, there's flexibility in the side. If it was mine, I'd probably look at maybe going Curtis down there to allow Dom to go back into midfield. But you know, there's a flexibility of the manager. If the manager thinks, you know, I want to change it, or I want to mix someone else, or if we need to press a little bit more, or with a bit of pace on the side from Brighton, you know, we can mix and change it. But yeah, the 7 is a bit of a crazy stat.
I know, it is a crazy stat. We've seen Curtis do a job there in the past, haven't we, Tomo? Do you think that he would slot in quite naturally to this one tonight? Would it be a good opportunity for him to play there as well?
Yeah, I've not seen the Brighton team just yet, so I'm not sure who's playing on the left there or who Curtis would be up against. But I think whoever he's up against, I think we're going to dominate possession today. So it's how he occupies the space going forward, and I think he's bright enough and he's smart enough to do that. I mean, Jay were talking before off air that we'd like to see signs what we see in Mo Salah up against Sunderland was tucking in a little bit more and linking up with Wirtz. It was almost, we couldn't describe the shape. We thought it was like a box midfield or a bit of a triangle up front, but whatever it was, it worked really well. And that was because Endo was getting forward and occupying that space, allowing Mo to go inside. I'd like to see that again today if Curtis Jones is there or Dom's there, whoever's there.
Well, Jay, if it is Dom, we've seen him do it against top opposition. Manchester City obviously scored that incredible goal in that game as well. But what does he bring to that position? And do you like seeing him there, or do you think we lose a bit in that midfield when he plays in right back?
It's catch-22 in it, because, you know, when you see Dom in midfield, you think, wow, the engine that he has, you know, he's the one that probably starts a press. You know, the team follow him when he runs forward and presses the back line of the opposition. His technical ability, his passing range. But the plus side is that when he's in at right back, people are now saying, well, you know, you've now got someone like Trent in there that, you know, pick 50, 60-yard passes, can play through the lines, you know, can go and get around, can allow Mo to come inside or go outside because he can roll inside.
He can transition quicker from that.
Well, exactly, yeah. So, you know, we're kind of half gaining something, but then also losing something in midfield. So that's what I mean, the flexibility tonight. There's options where, you know, if the time comes where you felt like we need a little bit more control, Dom could slide in. But yeah, listen, you'd probably, when you look at it, if you were someone that didn't really watch Liverpool too often and he slotted into right back, you think that was his natural position. He's been that good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, won't it, what happens there tonight. Another player that we have to touch on is Florian Wirtz, because do you think now, Tomo, we're really seeing the levels which Liverpool fans expected from Florian Wirtz when he joined the club in summer?
No, I think he's showing us little bits of how good he actually is. I think, you know, how good he can be, you know. The sky's the limit for this lad. He really is that talented, but he makes the game look so easy at times. The hard stuff looks so easy, but at times he makes the easy stuff look so hard, which can be a bit frustrating. We were talking about the chances he had in the Sunderland game, in the Man City game, where you'd like him just to put his foot through it and smash it into the bottom corner. but he likes to be so precise in everything he does, and he tries to make it look a little bit too easy at times. So I think once he starts getting up to speed, you're going to see like how good a player this guy actually is.
I think if you look at obviously the VT now, you can see the work rate. I think something that he has brought into his game is off the ball. You know, by Leverkusen, he was probably one that could maybe cheat or sit in that 10 pocket and not really have the responsibility of defending. I think the more as the years gone on and the season's gone on, he's adding that defensive side into his game. But just like Tomo said, the shot from the edge of the box, he struck it with pace, but then the one inside the box, again, like Tomo said, he's tried to place it with his side foot, and you probably want him to smash the one inside the box more, you know what I mean, rather than side footed. But for me, I just think he's incredible. I absolutely love him. I think he's getting better and better, and I just think he makes the game look so easy.
You just made a great point there, though. His off the ball stuff is really important. What he did at Sunderland, he offered us balance and a bit of protection as well, and I thought that was absolutely fantastic. And that's something, if we're going to play with a number 10, an out-and-out number 10, that's something he's going to have to do, because you can't afford to carry passengers at this level. We've already got a couple of passengers who don't really like naturally defending, so he's going to have to do that. He's going to have to take responsibility to do that and muck in.
Yeah, and there were some Sunderland fans tweeting after the game that he was the best away player they've seen at the Stadium of Light, which is some praise, isn't it? A word, Tomo, on Federico Chiesa. He comes in to the starting lineup tonight. A welcome start for him, deserved?
Absolutely a welcome start. I mean, he's another one who's a warrior with a great attitude. You know, they don't complain. They're very professional players. They get the work done. They get the job done. And when they come in, they never let anyone down. But the Federico Chiesa, what we've been seeing of late, is not the Federico Chiesa that we've seen 3 or 4 years ago before his injury. He showed glimpses of it, but he just needs to show a bit more consistency. I'd like the gaffer to have a little bit more faith in this guy, because he never lets you down. And also, every game he plays, you're going to get that little bit more fitter. And I think that's probably what he's lacking, is just a little bit of fitness, a little bit of match sharpness, because his instincts are all still there.
Yeah, definitely always gives us all, Jay.
Where do you think he plays tonight? Left or down the middle?
I think he plays down the middle.
Do you think that's a better position?
Yeah, I do, because I think he's comfortable with his back to play. He's press resistant, this guy. He's also comfortable going in behind. So he's a bit of a live wire, really, a bit of a pocket rocket. Reminds me of myself.
Bit of a pocket rocket. Now, it's been a busy week, hasn't it, for the boss, but he was pleased with the reaction that his side showed at the Stadium of Light, as we've mentioned. He hopes they can bring the same levels into tonight's game against Brighton.
Yeah, not the first time this season that we have to play 3 games in 7 days, and I said many times, it's part of being a top club, a big club, that you play a lot of games. But 3 and 8 is already better, and some teams have 3 and 9. And then it also depends, of course, in the FA Cup what draw you have. And we play a very strong Brighton team, because I think there are a lot of comparisons between Brighton and us. They absolutely don't deserve to be in the position they're in at the moment. They play so much better than the league table shows. Almost every game they're competitive and deserve more than they get. So yeah, it's another challenge. We've got 3 priorities: FA Cup, Champions League qualification, and the Champions League. But we're also aware of the limited options we have. So in terms of the squad, so the load management is important as well, because the last thing we could use right now is another injury. But yeah, that is always the difficult balance for a manager, including his performance staff and medical staff. What is the best decision to make every single time. And it is also true that it wouldn't be for the first time that a player could get injured if he has to play 3 games in 7 days. But yeah, it happened also many times that a player could just play 3 games in 7 days. So that's the challenge we're having.
You mentioned at Sunderland that the away fans helped the team over the line in that last period of the game, but it felt like there was a greater calmness and assuredness about the team defending that late lead compared to the game against Manchester City. What do you need to do to make sure that that's the blueprint for how you deal with those situations in future?
Yeah, but I think City only had 1 shot after we scored against them. But that was immediately a goal, and that changes the momentum, that changes everything. So margins have been so small for us this season. Every single time when the other team has a bit of a sniff in the game, all of a sudden they score, and we need to put so much in it before we are able to score. I didn't see that many difference in the last 20 minutes than I saw against City. The big difference was that the first time they arrived after us scoring the 1-0, it was a goal. Before that, we were challenging them in their box to score the second. So yeah, the margins are really small. I think there was a moment that was definitely after 1-0 when Ibu was in a fight with Robbie inside our box. And I felt he lost it, and then Ibu could still put his leg in front of him and played the ball. If that is the margin, if that is not, it's not happening, he turns and might score because it would have been a bigger chance even than the one Bernardo Silva had. But Ibu defended it perfectly. But those are the small margins we are talking about, and yeah, I see a lot of football and I see a lot of chances being missed, but that's not happening a lot with our opponents this season.
How important has your captain been during this? He's played nearly every minute of every game. He always turns up. How vital has that been for you this season?
No, vital of course, because not even looking at the amount of options we have at centre back, because if he's not playing, there are no options left. Same for Ibu, by the way. Although Joe is coming back now, but he's been fit every single time, and I've said this before, how big of an accomplishment that is for a player of his age, because he's not the youngest anymore, plays every 3 days. But that's not a coincidence, because if I look at how much work he puts in on a daily basis to recover, to be ready for the next, immediately when the game finishes till the moment the next game starts. And I've said before that it's always harder to stay fit in a season where you have where a team, and he as well, had so many setbacks. So it tells you a lot about what he does off the pitch in recovery, but definitely also about his mental strength, that he's able to stay with the team, and not only stay with the team, but also bringing in very good performances and lead the team, as he always does, on and off the pitch, by example. And that is also what he did Wednesday night in Sunderland.
Well, no surprise, some lovely words from the manager Arne Slot there, speaking about his captain and how important he's been. But I want to talk about Virgil's other centre-back partner, and that's Ibu Konate. Since his dad passed away, he's come back into the team. A really difficult time for him, Tomo, and he's looked like his levels are just back to his best, hasn't he?
You answer that one, Jay, because I couldn't hear that one.
Oh, sorry.
The players were obviously coming out.
For me, Konate, I think, the disappointing and obviously the sad moment of him obviously losing his father. The club were incredible in what they did for him to give him the time off and the support that they've given. But for me, since he's come back, he's been unbelievable. I think this game really epitomised it for me. This block now.
That battle with Brian Brody as well that he had
was brilliant to watch, and it was right on the edge sometimes of was he being a bit too tight or was it the fight? But I think between the two of them, it was a real old school centre forward, centre back scrap that you used to see in. But I also thought the referee handled it quite well, because he could have got involved and gone, oh, don't you touch him, don't you pull him. But listen, Ibu for me has been outstanding. I think he's really finding a good vein of form, and he's just making us look so much more solid, and the tackles and the heading, everything about him's been brilliant.
I think when he's in this form, I think it's a no-brainer that we've got to sort out his contract. We can't afford to lose a player of that quality on a free transfer. It's just not on, because you can't replace that talent cheap. So yeah, I think since he has come back, we can only imagine what he's gone through. And he took the call off the gaffer, and the gaffer gave him any amount of time off. You take it, don't worry about it. And he went, no, the team's struggling, they need me, I'm coming back. Since he's come back, he's been absolutely colossus, and he's just he's a sensational player. And what I like about him, he's had his difficult moments this year, but like the gaffer said, for the large majority of the games, he's played really well. It's just an odd moment, an odd mistake, but it's not just him. It's the whole team. You've got to have a structure that makes you feel safe around you. He hasn't had that for large parts of this season. So, I take my hat off to him, because the way he's coming back now, he's showing a determination and a pride in his performances that he wants to show everyone. He's a player that deserves to play at the top level and have the top teams chasing him, and I'm sure they are.
Yeah, incredible mentality from Ibu Konate coming back into the side. Let's reflect a bit on December in the game here against Brighton, because Arne Slot always likes to learn a lot about his opponents from the previous game. It was 2-0, Ekitike with both of those goals. What do you think that Arne Slot will take from that night into tonight?
You know, I think looking back at the game, I think the fast start, Liverpool literally started like a house on fire. It was an unbelievable finish from Hugo Ekitike, obviously Gomez being high and pressing forward. I think, listen, if we were able to get that start tonight again, it would make the game a lot more comfortable and a lot more in control. I think the chances that we created in this game, again, it probably from the season and a manager as an overall, can we be a little bit more clinical and really get that team out of sight early doors, or, you know, score 2 or 3? Again, making sure the back door's shut. But I think, you know, Brighton are going to have their moments in the game, like any team will. Sunderland had moments in midweek, but huge parts from the manager will be, come on, we've got to be clinical in and around the box, kill the game off as soon as we can, but obviously have more control and have control of the game.
Yeah, and Tomo, look, we're seeing here some of the chances that we missed in that game. I think this is the goal from Ekitike
that was a great header from Hugo there. He couldn't miss that one.
Couldn't miss that one. But they did miss some of the chances on that night. Do you think that will be the learning from that one? The clinicalness, like you just said, Jay, but also the fact that it will take a bit of time and patience maybe to break down a Brighton side that are quite solid usually in defence despite their recent form.
Yeah, they're a very stubborn team, you know. I mean, the problems they've been having from, you know, listening to all the fan groups down there, not watched them too closely, but they pass the ball a hell of a lot and they don't transition very far. You know, they keep the ball, they move it, so they are a difficult side to play against. But in that game, they had chances. They had some real good chances. So even though it was a 2-0, not many teams have beaten them by 2 clear goals this season. You know, it could have been a lot closer. So we've got to start right today. You mentioned it before, Jay. We have got to start like a house on fire here to make this easier for ourselves. We've also got to do something what we've not been doing this season. It's take our chances, make the game easier, take the pressure off the back floor. So, yeah, it's a good start and take your chances. That's what I'm looking for tonight. And no extra time because it's Valentine's night and I've got to go.
No extra time because you want to get an early lift home. That's what you're saying. You'll get in trouble if not. Well, we're about 40 minutes away from kick-off here at Anfield, and that's when Steve Hunter will be taking you through all the action from Liverpool versus Brighton. Let's hear from Steve now. He's up on the main stand gantry.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Harriet. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Neil Mellor is here with us for this one. He loves the FA Cup, loves these games. Really looking forward to this one together, as always, tonight. Atmosphere bubbling up Saturday night under the Anfield lights, of course. Always special occasions. Well, of course, to get here, it was certainly an interesting game, but Liverpool got through, didn't we, against Barnsley in the last round. Here's the best of that action, and it was certainly a mixed night for Dominic Szoboszlai.
But Liverpool take on League One Barnsley and get their FA Cup campaign underway this evening at Anfield. This Szoboszlai with the effort. Oh, goodness me! That's just too good. Sensational strike from Dominic Szoboszlai. This Frimpong, that's lovely. Frimpong, oh yes! Oh yes indeed! That's a moment of individual brilliance. Brilliant from Szoboszlai. Just great awareness. Oh, but then he's given the ball away and he's gifted Barnsley a goal. Jones. Little touch is for Florian Wirtz. It's another magnificent Liverpool goal. That's the ball for Wirtz, who's onside, and that's for Ekitike. And a tap-in makes it 4 for Liverpool. Liverpool have done the job. They're into the next round of the FA Cup.
Yeah, highlights from the last round. I mean, Mel's, that was certainly a very interesting evening. I mean, Dominic Szoboszlai scoring a wonder goal and then that mad moment.
Yeah, and to be fair to Barnsley, they gave Liverpool a game that night and stayed in it for so long at 2-1. I mean, the scoreline probably flattered Liverpool in terms of the performance. Do you know what I enjoyed and what I'll enjoy tonight? No VAR, because it was a massive penalty appeal for Barnsley at 2-1, and VAR would have took 5 minutes, and I don't know what they'd have given. The Barnsley fans wanted a penalty. I didn't think it was, but that's the problem with it. Tonight, I can enjoy a game of football without worrying about VAR.
Absolutely love that, folks. Well, with tonight being Valentine's night, we thought we'd show a little bit of love on the show tonight, as we always try to do. And let's show a bit of love for Divock Origi now. Back in 2016, Divock certainly felt the love of the travelling cop at Villa Park with this one. 6-0, and even Kolo Touré scored for Liverpool in this goal, and the crowd certainly appreciated Divock Origi. We loved Divock Origi goals, didn't we? And the crowd certainly enjoyed that one. I don't think Divock will forget that one. Harriet, it's back to you.
Thank you, Steve. No, we definitely won't forget that one. And I don't think Divock Origi's forgotten that one either. It's time for our social media viewers to leave us now, but our build-up from here at Anfield continues on LFC TV and all Red videos. Details on how to subscribe can be found at liverpoolfc.com/watch. Still to come before kick-off, we get the thoughts of Joe Gomez ahead of the game. Then Steve will be joined by Neil Mellor for audio commentary of the game just before kick-off at 8 o'clock. Then we'll be back down here at pitchside to discuss events after full-time. That post-match show you can see on your screen now will also be available to listen to as an official LFC podcast later tonight. And the full match replay goes out for the first time at 6 o'clock on Sunday for UK viewers. And then 24 hours later, Mel's will be back with detailed analysis of tonight's game in the review show on Monday evening. Well, let's just remind you then of the Liverpool starting 11 for this evening's game. Arne Slot has made 4 changes from their midweek victory over Sunderland.